This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland, our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings, and coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today, and Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loves so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay, and we're underway in the John Madden Legacy Game. The lane opens here. He's past the 30. The 20. And they are not going to catch him. He's in. Touchdown, NFC.
That was a special return, and it happened because he's a special returner. He has to have that approval from his special teams coach's head coach to bring it out of the end zone.
But let's be honest, a lot of times when they bring it out of the end zone like he did there, they don't have approval. I mean, I think a lot of times they do, but correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes it's just a guy getting a feel, right?
You're exactly right. What's the old adage? Sometimes you just have to know when to break the rules. And if you do, you're taking on some responsibility. But he was happy to do so there.
So let's try this again. After the kick return TD, here's yet another kickoff. And we will not see an attempt to match that return touchdown, as this will be a touchback and bring it out to the 25. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
Brady's incompletion on first down leads to a 2nd and 10. Now a first carry for their fullback. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
Here's Hester. Oh, nice move. That'll go as a 46-yard punt with a return of 7. And the NFC will take over 1st and 10. You see the AFC defense heading back out there. They've got good starting field. They come up here 1st and 10 at their 38. Now Favre. Left side here to Sanders. Solid move, but he's corralled just beyond the 40. Now, Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles. You and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehab...
That's caught inside the 20. And they're going to be set up now with the ball at the 13-yard line.
A very early momentum changer there. Actually a dream killer for the defense because they forced a third down. Felt like they had a good chance to get off the field defensively. And then they got hit with that big play.
And he'll fight his way down right around the 12. Give him maybe a yard. Quite the opposite from the previous big gainer. Here's 2nd and 9. Just a yard on that last run. And it's caught. And he'll be taken down at the 2-yard line. They'll run with Sanders. And he is in. Touchdown NFC. Taking it in from 2 yards out. And the NFC is in for 6. Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that'll make the score 14-0. A drive that time of 6 plays. And Barry Sanders the one to finish it off as he does so with a touchdown run. No run back here for Hall, and this will come out to the 25. The AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
The AFC with a football here to begin the second quarter, as they've got it with a 2nd and 13 forthcoming. And Brady's throw there incomplete. But Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded to become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date for the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
And he'll go out near midfield at the 49. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root, as did the expression commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrunk.
And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. Calvin Johnson, 33 yards. And the NFC is in for 6. Now to try to add the extra point, the lefty Anderson. And it is now 21-0. A drive there of just 4 plays. And it's finished off by an NFC touchdown. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And Hall not going to bring this one out. The AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There are 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap he had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
Throwing is Brady on 3rd down. And that is incomplete.
Well, this first half has not gone according to plan so far offensively, or even defensively for that matter. They could use a big-time spark somewhere, but it's not going to come on this drive as they have to punt this one away.
On the return, Hester. And he'll take this across the 25 before going out of bounds. Now the NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss, a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, a Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it this way. 6 times in his 10 years, the Raiders were knocked out near the AFL championship game or the AFC championship game. There might be a divisional round exit. That's the one that bothered him most of all. Three River Stadium, December 1972. Yes, the Immaculate Reception game. Franco Harris grabbing the ball that was deflected. Almost at his shoe tops, he picked it up and took it in for a game-winning score to give the Steelers a 13-7 victory. And partner, anyone who loves black and silver still doesn't believe that ball hit anyone in black and silver that day, and that play should never have counted.
Montana. Pressure, and the AFC gets to him for the sack. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop the clock with 24 seconds to go in this first half. So on 4th down, here's the Australia native Mitch Wishnowsky to punt this one away. Back deep, 2-time Pro Bowler Dante Hall. That'll be a 43-yard punt, just a single yard on the return. And control of the football, switching hands with very little time remaining until the half. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. And the ball backed way up, so thinking with this amount of time on the clock, probably just sit on it, and we'll see these two teams go to the lockers.
Yeah, I don't think you want to overthink it in this situation. Either side.
Well, coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs, but for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley. Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducted coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that... Oh, he can't get away, and Brady will go down. It'll be a loss of 7 on the sack, and it brings up second. Another try after the first down sack. Brady, and they are going to take over right there at the 22-yard line.
Well, I think everyone who's watching was certainly hoping to see things get a little bit better for them in this half, aren't we? But it was a downright miserable first half that's carried over with an interception to begin the second half. That's a defeated offense right there, and there's still a lot of game left. I don't think that's the last turnover we're going to see today, partner.
On 2nd and 7, Montana. And a loose football. And that's picked up by the AFC. And it's a good return here as he'll get all the way up close to the 35. Well, number one on the list of things not to do when you're up 3 scores in the third, that right there, give the football away.
I love when you speak like that. You know how doctors talk about taking the Hippocratic oath, first do no harm? You just did the football-cratic one right there. Don't give the ball away when you have a lead that you can lock this game down with.
After the pickup of 5, here's 2nd and 5. On play action, now Brady. He finds his man, complete. It's Gonzalez. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers, and he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
Nothing in that first half, nothing on the last drive, but they're moving now with a 1st and 10. To throw, it's Brady. And the throw left sideline here is caught, but they'll rule it incomplete. Couldn't keep his feet in. 2nd down. They'll run with Allen. And he'll be taken down at the 33, a pickup of about 4. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden legacy game, it's the NFC stars and young Coach Madden on top. We'll be back to the Coliseum after this. Back now here on EA Sports. It's the NFC with the lead and the football as well as we start quarter number 4. Steps away to his left. Gets this one to Hill. And he is out of bounds inside the 30. The result, only 4 yards there on the play. And that's going to make it 4th down. They'll try and run for it. And, boy, this is going to be close. That mark looks a little short, and he didn't get there. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now.
Looking for Johnson, and it's intercepted. Rod Woodson with a pick. And he is going to score. It's a pick 6 and an AFC touchdown. This game's still fairly well in hand, but I think now you go conservative, don't you? Go into your shell and just run the football?
I think you have to, but you also have to tell your backs, make sure you're really protecting the football because you're going to run into a stacked defensive front, which is why they were throwing the football before, trying to make sure they didn't get their backs, really beat up in that situation. Now, good luck to them.
And it is gobbled up by the NFC. Fourth quarter, they felt like they needed the football back. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it.
And I know we brought analytics into the game, and someone has said here that the data says that when a team's expecting an onside kick, 80% of the time, the team expecting it, they do actually recover the ball, which is what we saw here. I just wonder if that number is much more of an anecdotal type of a number. Kind of like when the coaches tell us, well, when you score on special teams, 93% of the time you win the game. I'm still waiting to see that number is empirical.
And that's complete to Sanders. They'll wind up getting 7 on the play. And now 2 yards to go on 3rd down. And this offense on 3rd down today, they've been okay. 2 for 3 thus far. Here it's 3rd and 2. So 2 minutes to play in the John Madden Legacy game. The NFC trying to finish this one off. We're back to Oakland after this. Now Montana. He's going to let this go. Back of the end zone. That's going to be knocked away and incomplete. Now Morton Anderson for the field goal try. This to make it a 3-score game late. The Hall of Famer's kick is good, and that will extend their lead even further. So they hadn't called on him at all until this point, but he comes through here and buries one from long range.
Yeah, that's awfully impressive because usually kickers like to get that first one out of their system in the first quarter, sort of get them into the flow of the game, but to come in this late and knock it down from long distance, give him a lot of credit.
No run back here for Hall, and this will come out to the 25. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Well, it's been a struggle so far for this offense, Charles. It's not only that they haven't been able to put the points up, but really stringing yards together has been a real issue for them in this one.
I'm so glad you brought up the yardage because I was thinking to myself, we've seen a lot of NFL games, and we've seen our share of lopsided contests, but in almost all of them, both offenses put up at least 200 yards in a game, but not in this one. This has been a display of offense that, frankly, I think the two of us have watched from behind our hands, trying to spread our fingers wide enough to actually see the result.
Over the middle, he's got Tim Brown. And he'll go down, but not before getting this inside the 30. They're going to need to get up and set in a hurry. And he's going to be taken down. Pressure gets there back at the 39-yard line. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts. It's just their first. They've got 2 more to use here in the final stages. Now a timeout called for by the offense as they stop it with 28 seconds to go in this football game. 7th play of this drive coming up, but a long way to go on 3rd down. Brady going to throw. And this pass broken up. And the contact well timed there. And now 4th down. They'll run for it. This is Allen. And this is going to come up well short as they stop him on 4th down. They had to go for it with such little time remaining. And the NFC is going to win the football game. So good starting field position for him here as they come up 1st and 10 at their own 46. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up. Now another timeout called for by the offense. That'll leave him with just 1 remaining in this 4th quarter of play. That one looks like he'll throw here. It's tipped, but it doesn't matter. He still catches it. And they'll get this to the 30-yard line before crossing over out of bounds. So the big gain, all for naught for the offense. That yellow flag is going to bring it back.
Oh, what a tough look for the offense because they see all that yardage lost and that ball's walked back and then some behind the original line of scrimmage.
Room here to run. And he's going to get this all the way down inside the 35. And now we'll get a timeout here. They're able to stop it with 1 second to go in this game. Play fake. Now here's Montana. He lets this one fly toward the back of the end zone. And this one is incomplete. So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.